Good morning. Are we live? Okay. This is Bill Kanda, Custer County Chairman of the Board of Commissioners. Today is Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. And the time is 9 o'clock. We're beginning the meeting. So would please everybody silence your phones first and stand for the pledge.
Repeat after me, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me for the invocation. Heavenly God, our Father, we thank you for all our blessings. We ask that you please bless this meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. Strengthen us with wisdom and patience so that we can solve the perplexities and problems and choices that come before this meeting today. We ask for your blessings and love for the citizens of this county, and please grant us the wisdom to save us from all false choices that may be facing us today as we work through today's meeting. For the citizens of the county, in Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Hello, Dan.
Dan.
Just in time because right now Kelly's got the roll call.
I'm here.
Commissioner Kanda,
Here.
Commissioner Epp,
Present.
Commissioner Vogelsong,
Here.
County Attorney Dan Slater,
Here.
BOCC Admin Kate Womack here, and Clerk to the Board Kelly Campbell present.
Okay, audience introductions. Before we do that, how many do we have online?
Three. Debbie Van Doren, John Price, and Rob Klein.
Got them? Okay. All right, we'll start here up front. Get your examples ready. No, go ahead. It's your turn. Just who are you? Just who are you? Introduce yourself.
I am Ted Ballard. I represent the Blues, Brews, and Barbecues. Actually, Richard Posadas is a commander. He's more in charge of the whole thing. He ought to be here any minute. I think he went to the annex building first.
Well, that's
He's not in the
okay.
way.
We got time for that. We just want to make sure he's gathering up the samples.
Well, we have some samples. I have some samples.
Okay.
James Gilbert.
Barry.
Barry Keene with the Custer County Workforce Housing Committee.
Jim Chaplin.
Go ahead. No, I got you. Go ahead.
John Van Dorn. Bob Smith, Custer County Human Resources Risk Management.
John Rusher.
Gina Graham. Deb Adams with Custer County Tourism.
And in the back.
John Wicks, County IT. Mike Rivers, Custer County Sheriff's.
There you go.
Okay, and we got two guys. Just introduce yourself, your name. We just got to that point. So up here, just tell us who you are.
I'm Richard Sutton, Commander Mayor.
Never would have guessed.
No, it looks like it.
James Perry.
Got them all. Jay, say it again.
James Perry.
James. I think we got them all.
That's everything.
Good, thank you, everybody. Amendments to the agenda. Paul, you have anything?
Nothing to add. No.
I think Lucas?
Do we want to amend for the sheriff's vehicles to a thing? Mike D is here to speak on that, I guess.
If he can speak to it.
Are you
Not
gonna be able
yet,
to speak
not
to
yet.
it?
No, not yet.
Okay, just couldn't hear you.
No, you're gonna speak to the agenda item for the sheriff's vehicles, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we were thinking that nobody had gotten word. We didn't get a rough draft of the copy, so it's okay. We'll listen. All right, I have none either, so we won't amend anything. Next up, minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the July 9th and the July 16th, 2025 BOCC meetings.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes for July 9th and the July 16th BOCC meetings. I thought they were fine too. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye. Lucas?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Kanda, aye. Thank you, Kelly. Commissioner items, Paul?
Nothing new. The fair was a very good success. Gotten a lot of good comment back from it and everything. And we did have an outstanding auction, so, only thing I like to add. We're good.
Okay. Lucas?
I would like to echo that. The fair, so our fair board members are Brittany Van Duzen, Bree Gasper, Alicia Shy, and Jolie Skeen, Wendy Rusk, Leah Grundy, with Wendy Rusk being the chairman. I just want a special thank you to them for a successful fair this year. Also CSU Extension, who's an ex officio member of that board, Reggie Foster, the 4-H coordinator, Emily Ganatin. This was her first year for a fair. This is her first year as a county employee, so thank you to both of them. The FFA leader, Eddie Crisp, also very influential and a big part of the fair, so I want to thank him. And then we had 3 employees that kind of went above and beyond and helped out at the fair with either helping Emily out. That would be Caitlin Womack, our past 4-H coordinator, so thank you to you, John Mapes, who put security cameras up there for him and got that going. We've had some shenanigans in the past and wanted to make sure that we caught that on camera if it happened this year. And then Matt Carver, our groundskeeper and maintenance guy, went out there and helped him for a good day to just get some things taken care of and put our flag up, went up the flagpole. And I kind of told him that I said, him and John Mapes were working on the flagpole and had a ladder leaning up against there. One of them was holding the ladder, and I said, you guys maybe get down. We have 3 commissioners, so maybe let a commissioner do it, because we have 2 that are spares. So I just wanted to relay that to you. You know, everybody came together to put this fair together, and then the community of citizens who really support this, who are involved, who purchase the beef, who watch these kids, support them, encourage them. So this is probably the biggest outreach thing that the BOCC does, or that the community does with its taxpayers' dollars. So roughly $18,000, $16,000 to $20,000 goes to the fair out of the county budget. So
And some volunteer and labor with the county employees.
yeah, so just want to say thank you.
Any details on how the sale went, money-wise?
Better than last year. I think, if I remember correctly, don't quote me, but around $350,000 is what they made.
Numbers.
So the kids in Custer County earned over $300K this year for their projects. That number is usually 200 to 250. The new lead bread and fed contest showcasing local livestock certainly impacted that outcome. So more than 60% of the project carcasses were rated prime, unheard of. About 1 in 50 youths will have a 40% return of prime. This was truly an incredible accomplishment by our youth, and the word spread quickly, resulting in great sale. So this was from Reggie Foster. So again, thank you for the community. It's you guys are the ones that did it, so thank you.
Yeah, we got lots of compliments and a lot of fun. Everybody had, as well as the rodeo was fantastic. Standing room only here. I didn't get to plan to be there and got delayed and would have been standing anyway, it sounds like. Yeah, and with that, we had another visitor come in, and we always have introductions, and you get the alone privilege of being the one that came in late. So tell us who you are. We know who you are, but go ahead and tell us.
Hi, good morning, everyone, commissioners. I'm Jeff Lindsay. I'm the district attorney for the 11th Judicial District. I was over at the caboose. GPS took me over there, and I was trying where.
Well, in Go Railroad, there's a station for that
But I
caboose.
thought it was pretty cool to have a meeting in the caboose.
Well, that's our fault for how it's posted, I guess.
Well, no.
We'll hear more from you in a minute, but
Yeah,
thank you
it's
for,
good to be here. I appreciate you having me up here this morning.
yeah, thank you for being here. Okay, and with that, I got a couple items to chime in on as well. We've been having a lot of problems just with road and bridge equipment, and I'll let you all know about that as it comes up. The biggest one over the last couple of days has been the good news. Chip seal's done on Rosita. It went very well once we got all the equipment working. Fremont County had loaned us a chip sealer machine, and it was working, and then it didn't work, of course, and then we got it to work again, and they completed it. There will be press releases on those kinds of things as well as what's next, the next item that they'll be hitting in order priority. Also, we have what I classified as a lemon of a roller, the roller we bought, brand new. The bad news is it popped off in the middle of that laying down the asphalt process this last Monday, Tuesday. And through a bunch of hard hammering from Vince and the rest of us on the team of Four Rivers, they have pointed out it is under warranty. They've been real good about bringing up the people to troubleshoot it without charging us. And so we're going to try to keep it that way. Turns out it needed a new turbo and wiring harness is suspect still. So that'll be done, but they're going to keep it, they're giving it to us for as long as it takes for the next 6 weeks, if it takes that to fix this other one or trade it in for another roller. We'll see. Also, Vince pointed out, and I've seen it even on the way to town today, we got 35-mile-an-hour signs for a reason. That's to keep from tearing up the roads, especially on the asphalt shoulders before we get them chip sealed. So I've asked for more signs to be posted in between the beginning and the end of these roads, because people seem to forget while they're driving along. And it's easy because when we do a good job on the road, people get a lead foot because it's just so smooth, and before you know it, it's
No way you're.
over. No, it's just, you deal with the repercussions. Anyway, he pointed out that maybe on one of these security grants or a grant that we have, we can order up some 35-mile or some signs, not just the printed sign, but the flashing sign like Westcliff has is as people are coming up and it starts flashing, you're going 25, no, you're going 35, or you're going 50. That pulls your foot off, and so maybe we can look for a couple grants on that, and I'll ask the sheriff if it's in the verbiage. They get a security grant mostly for the courts, but maybe there's another avenue. Okay. And also good news is the pumps are being put, now we're going to put together the pumps for this county. They're going to put in some leftover asphalt around to keep the dirt away from the mud, away from the pumps that are being put in, the new ones. And it looks over the next 2 weeks that probably will take place. We'll get it operating, supposedly. We'll see. So that's the latest and greatest on that. And I think without any other, unless there's a question on the road and bridge stuff, we're good. Okay. How about it, Dan? I'm going to look at you again.
I don't know.
Nothing today. And how about you, Caitlin? All right. And now we've got some unfinished business, and I mentioned the purchase of that chip seal. You've got anything else to add on that?
I take it that the seller isn't gonna go a penny below the asking price.
Maybe.
So, I think the last we had talked, Vince was supposed to make that deal and
Yeah, and he
bring
had,
it back to us, so.
yeah, we'll give him the chance to, I mean, we've been yelling at the other stuff.
Okay.
So
right.
let's keep that line.
Okay, so we wanna move this.
We got somebody just walked in, I missed.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Just say your name, Troy.
Troy Baumgartner.
Right, you're right. Okay. Thank you, got it. All right, moving on, we get to hear from the guest speaker today. Come on up, Jeff. You got a microphone? And you can come by, right, you can put your stuff up here if you want to, and,
Right here.
or there's fine, as long as people can hear you. You can turn toward them if you like, or stand up here, it's up to you. Whatever you're comfortable with.
I'm comfortable right here.
Okay.
I'm the lectern here.
Okay.
Morning, commissioners, other officials from Custer County. My pleasure to be up here today. I'm trying to get around all the counties that we represent. I share jurisdiction with the sheriff up here, cover Custer, Chaffee, Park, and Fremont County.
District 11, right?
JD 11, yeah, Judicial District 11. It's always great to come up here. You know, my family started in Colorado in Custer County. I like to think some of the old timers, like Commissioner Kanda, ran into some of my relatives, the Rileys, the Custers with the K, and Brownlee, Gavin Brownlee was my third great grandfather that came out here and worked in the mines in the late 1800s. He's buried in the cemetery up there, Silver Cliff Cemetery. So my family started out in Custer County. One of my proudest achievements is to be back in Custer County, representing the people that sort of brought me and raised my family, raised my dad as well. I'm always fond of Custer County, always up here fishing in small creeks and streams. As I said, I'm Jeff Lindsay. I live in Canyon City right now. Currently married, have 3 grown children, kind of have all over the place with my kids. But happily married and happily ensconced in the district attorney's role here in the 11th JD. I come to you and I bring a wealth of experience. I've been a prosecutor for almost 29 years now. February will be 29 years. I've done just about every kind of case you can imagine, from Custer County, Chaffee County, Park County, Fremont County. That's where I started in 1997. Worked my way into Pueblo, Colorado Springs, and then back and around. And you know, when there was a opening, I guess, in the district attorney's office, I was pretty excited to take over, pretty excited to run. So here I am. Certainly have any questions that anybody might want to ask. Just in the short period of time, you all know I was appointed November 1st of 2024. I was on my way, my wife and I were on the way to visit my niece who goes to school at CU Boulder. And the judge called and said, hey, we want to swear you in. It's about 10 after 5 on a Friday evening, November 1st. And so,
Short notice.
dodging traffic and stuff, you know, on I-25 there by Castle Rock, I raised my right hand and was sworn in to be the district attorney. I then took over as the elected district attorney January 14th of 2025. Commissioner, I'm sorry, came down for the ceremony, and we had a nice time there in Canyon City. A lot of people came out for that. I do have a list of things. It's not super long, and I can just sort of gloss over the most important parts.
Don't gloss, but we want to hear it all.
Okay, thank you. Done a lot since I started in November 1st, and a lot of that is thanks to the commissioners. The BOCCs from the 4 counties were very generous and gave a good budget to the DA's office for 2025, so I appreciate that. What I've done is, believe it or not, I go to work every day. I'm there every single day. I know that was an issue in the past, but I've been told, and I've learned the hard way in my career, both in school and as an attorney, half of the battle, or maybe even 3/4 of the battle, was showing up. And so I show up every day, and that's a welcome addition. During the time we've been here, we've had office-wide trainings. We've had the District Attorney's Council come down. We've had the Attorney Regulation Council, ethics overseer folks come down and did a training. And we've had lots and lots of updates that we've been applying to our office. My investigations unit has completely been revamped. Super excited about my investigations unit. I've got about a 40-year experienced law enforcement officer. He was a lieutenant in Albuquerque. He's also a lieutenant for Colorado Springs Police Department. He retired from both jurisdictions. Albuquerque is kind of neat because you can start at 18 and you work 20 years and you can retire. So he's not an old timer, so to speak, but you know, he's been around a lot. We also have a 30-year plus homicide drug detective from Pueblo PD that also retired. He's one of our investigators. And we have Brandon Madsen, who started out in Park County as a dispatch and then worked his way up to detective. He lives there in Canyon City. So my 3 investigators, I'm really proud of those guys and happy that they're working there. I have a chief deputy district attorney assigned to Chaffee. We've had some turnover, and I think that's just sort of natural, that you're going to have people that maybe aren't, too excited with the changes that are happening, and so there's been some turnover, and it's been okay. We've managed to recuperate from the turnover. I'm a firm believer, and I think that when there's an opening and all of a sudden this person comes to you and says, I want to work for you, it's sort of, to me, heaven sent. One of the prosecutors that's assigned up here, Curtis Tommy, lives on the Fremont side over in Cotopaxi, where Cotopaxi and Custer kind of run together. I think Commissioner, if you met him, he came to me and said, I want to work for you. And it was like sort of a heaven sent moment there. He's assigned to the felony unit up here and comes up here about twice a month. I have another county court attorney that comes up here about 4 times a month. We created an office manager, again, with that budget that the commissioners had allocated for the D's office. Her name is Kayla Trujillo. She comes to us from the Pueblo D's office. I stole a bunch of people from Pueblo, and happily they're here. Unhappily to Pueblo, there was some hurt feelings that I took some of those folks. We have a Vail comp, so Vail is one of the victims, again, law enforcement grant, and then we have victims comp. I had appointed somebody there to take over, also a person that I stole from Pueblo. We came in and we adjusted salaries right away. What had happened is previously the district attorney played favorites, and there were a lot of people that got money and a lot of people that didn't get money, and it just seemed unfair to me. And so I had some of my advocates who were making pretty close to poverty level wages, and I addressed that right away. That wasn't going to be the case, and so they went from 36,000 into the 40s to work at the district attorney's office. We've been operating in the black since I started in January 2025. I can tell you November and December were some pretty thin months. They were pretty skinny. And I really didn't want to come back to the commissioners and ask for, allocations for those last 2 months. And so we sort of played, loose with, I shouldn't say loose, we
You didn't shoot from the hip, did you?
Yeah, we operated, there were some sleepless nights for my budget director and myself and trying to make sure that we could make payroll and pay our bills, and we did. So we made it through November, December, and then January, things changed, and so that's kind of where we are. Really tried to restore a lot of the relationships with law enforcement agencies. Custer is important to us. I've been up here a lot, as you probably know. I took over the Clark Medina Coaches triple murder that happened off of Silver Saddle. I'm prosecuting that case with my assistant district attorney, who I brought in from Pueblo. She lives there in Canyon, named Stacy Turner. Probably one of the best prosecutors that I know that I've ever worked with is assistant district attorney Stacy Turner. So she's with us. She's working on that case, and so I've got a really good prosecutor, and then I'm on it as well. When I started coming back, all of the agencies, including Custer County Sheriff's Office, asked, is Stacy Turner coming back? She'd been a mainstay in the D's office for a lot of years. And when I told them that she was coming back, everybody was super relieved, because she's a go-getter. She's a good prosecutor. We revamped our discovery unit. There was a lot of media coverage about what was happening in the district attorney's office and some of the discovery issues that were brought to light. And we were getting sanctioned pretty hard. We had a couple of really serious cases get dismissed. We had charges dropped down from a class 1 felony to a class 2 felony just because of the discovery issues that were so prevalent in the district attorney's office. What had happened is the individual units in the D's office, the individual prosecutors or staff, everybody was on their own island, and they were trying to keep themselves from drowning and having that island get flooded. Nobody was communicating, nobody was working together, nobody was doing what D's office do so well and work together as a team. So we revamped our entire discovery unit. one of the things that I didn't know any of this stuff, you know, they don't teach you this in law school or anything, is if computers, laptops are more than 4 years old, then the processing speed is way too slow. And what I mean by that is law enforcement sends the stuff into the cloud, all their reports, all their pictures, all their videos, goes into the cloud. We pull it down into the cloud, we put it back into the cloud for defense attorneys and discovery. Never was that way. I'm sure Dan remembers the days where you had stacks and stacks of paper files, and you lug these paper files to court. And the clerk spent lots of time at the copy machine making copies and handing that out. Now everything is in the cloud, everything is electronic. So the first thing I did is I figured out who was dealing the most with discovery, who was handling discovery, and we got them new computers. We found money in the budget, and we got them new computers so they could get the process of discovery done and discover efficiently. We haven't had a case dismissed or significant punishment for discovery issues for several months now. We're going to keep it that way, I'm hoping. Really worked hard on morale in the office. Like I said, everybody was on an island, everybody was trying to not sink or swim. And so morale has been a huge issue. One of the things we did is we had Pie Day, which is March 14th, Pie Day. So everybody got to bring a pie. And there was some really delicious pie brought. When I addressed the commissioners, they asked if we had a 420 day. I said, absolutely not. We did not. That's not permitted, and no, sir, we're not doing 420 days. This coming Friday, we have a all-office picnic there in Canyon at Centennial Park, and we're looking forward to that and get that morale back to where it's good. I've been a part of a lot of district attorney's office, and district attorney's office with the best morale are usually the most successful. It's just one of those things. Show up and have good morale, things are going to work out well for you. What we've started to look at with our law enforcement partners is those folks that keep offending, that keep breaking the law, that have this revolving door in the jail, not the date, next day. We just had an individual in Fremont that set a bunch of fires, got arrested, got out, went across the street, and set more fires. And so those are the kind of people we're looking at, really being aggressive in our prosecution, really trying to keep them where they belong so they're not a risk to community safety. Another thing that I'm pretty proud of is we had a whole bunch of cars in our fleet. I'm not sure why. We had all these old police cruisers that were beat up and probably chased a lot of bad guys in their day, but we had about 4 police cruisers that I don't know why we had them, and maybe there was some reason. The previous DA had all these old police cruisers. We got rid of all 4 of them, and we sort of farmed them out to other police agencies. Walsenburg PD brought a bunch of BVPD, Buena Vista, bought the old Chevy Silverado that was kind of infamous. And so really important to me to get more efficient in our fleet and stop spending so darn much in gas, because we were spending a lot of money in gas. We're working on budget currently, and so I'm looking and figuring out ways to save money in our budget. In 2020, when Stanley took over, there was about a $500,000 surplus. When I took over, that was gone. And so I'm looking to try to restore that. I think we have to have a cushion, we have to have some ability, if something comes up, that we need to be able to spend money to prosecute, because it does cost money to do that. When I started, we had a front desk person in Fremont, and that front desk person didn't do anything. And we had an automated phone system, which is one of my pet peeves of any agency that I call, where you have to push 1 for this or 2, or then speak into the phone. So I said, we're getting rid of that. We have a live person that answers the phones in all offices, so Park, Chafee, and Fremont. It's important to our duty to the citizens is that we answer the phones. We also are open, if you guys know, 5 days a week, not 4 days. We're open Monday through Friday. We do occasionally close a little early on Fridays, maybe 4:30 or so, but we do have people on staff there 5 days a week. Significantly, there was no on-call procedures So what happens is anytime police write a warrant, it has to be reviewed by a district attorney. And it could be in the middle of the night, it could be a Saturday, Sunday, it could be during business hours. There was no process in place. So law enforcement didn't know, who are we supposed to call to have the district attorney review this warrant? Or who are we supposed to call if we have a legal question that we need answered? So I revamped that on-call process. We have attorneys 24 hours a day, 365 days, 364, whatever it is, a year, ready and able to answer a call. So if it's Custer, anybody that needs help, we have somebody ready for that. We have a new laws training. The legislature just finished up here in May. And so we have a new laws training that we're doing in Canyon in September. So we've invited all law enforcement agencies, including Custer, State Patrol, CPW, everybody, to come for the new law trainings in September. It's going to be at the county fairgrounds there in Fremont. I've created a more robust supervisory, because I want people to go to lawyers. So the Assistant District Attorney, Stacy Turner, is available for questions. She's available to help people. People aren't doing everything the hard way, learning, the hard way. They're being able to consult with attorneys that have experience. Stacy's probably 15, 20 years. Like I said, almost 28 years. We want people there so lawyers can ask for help. When they need help, it's easier to say, well, here's what I had happen to me. One of the more important cases that we're looking at and always thinking about is wildland fire. And there was a huge wildland fire in Chaffee County, and I bring some knowledge. I was involved in the Waldo Canyon fire in El Paso County. I was involved in the Black Forest fire in El Paso County, so I have some knowledge and some experience in that. It's something that we're always thinking about. We're always wanting to make sure if somebody broke the law and created some property damaging or God forbid life-threatening damaging issues, we want to be able to prosecute those folks. Created a brand new, so this is probably not very exciting. It was exciting to me, but policies and procedures manual. There hadn't been a policies and procedures manual since about 2010. It had been updated about 2020 for COVID, but hadn't been updated since 2010. And there's been a lot of changes in the way we do business in the district attorney's office since 2010. So I redid that completely. It's about 80 some odd pages. It includes ethical issues. It includes our victims' right amendment responsibilities and all sorts of other things. We created a dedicated Department of Corrections prosecutor. It's a big part of Fremont and Chaffee County. That person, all they do is work with BOCC. Another exciting thing is we created a part-time appellate deputy. And so we've had, sometimes issues in court where the evidence gets suppressed or we don't agree with the judge's ruling. In the past, it was just up to that prosecutor. Like, this judge ruled against you. If you want to appeal it, have at it. Well, that process is pretty sophisticated. It's not something as just a line deputy. You can just say, draw up the papers, let's file an appeal. We have a part-time appellate deputy, and she's really taken on some cases where we don't agree with the judges, and we feel like the Court of Appeals or the Colorado Supreme Court needs to address some of the issues these judges have decided. What I'm working on for 2026 is the budget. I'm going to have a meeting, I think, August 5th with you all. I'm looking to address disparities in work. So I'm always keeping track of how many cases each county and each attorney in each county has. So I want to make sure we have the right amount of attorney time for the right amount of cases. And then I'm going to get out more often than I have been in the past. We've been working to get things squared away with the bus going down the track, and so spending more time with the agencies. I'd like to get it right along with every agency that we work with. And so I have 4 sheriffs, I have 5 police chiefs, state patrol, CPW has a huge presence all over the 11th JD. And I want to get out and ride with those folks. And instead of going to the caboose, coming to the right place. I came up for a meeting when I was running, and they said, I forgot who it was. I can't remember her name, sorry. she told me that the meeting was in the Long building, and I'm like, well, how many Long buildings are there? There's lots of Long buildings. I'm driving around, and then I realized it was the Lane building, so I came up to me, and Commissioner Kendall was there. And again, like I said, this is sort of where my roots are. This is part and parcel of, my family and my upbringing, and I'm super excited to represent the folks of Custer County as well as the other counties, and would open it up. If y'all have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any questions that either the commissioners or staff or any of the people in the.
We'll start it right here, and you
Yes,
have something.
I guess, what do you think of, and we'll probably ask this more in our budget hearing, but what do you think a good cushion is for you?
I think that $500,000 is probably where I'd like to get it back.
Okay.
I was cautioned by Fremont County, Commissioner Grantham's got that huge experience with the JBC through the state legislature, and, I've leaned on him to some extent. When I told him I wanted to bring that cushion back to where it was, he's like, well, don't go too fast, take your time and, try to get it back by the end of your first 4 years. And that's my plan. That's definitely where I think it needs to be, because that cushion, Commissioner, had been there for decades.
Right.
All the way back to when I was a young prosecutor in '97, that they kept that $500,000 cushion just for, we had the issue in Penrose, the mortuary issue. And that was a huge case for us. We were fortunate that Colorado Springs DA's office took that.
Yeah.
I was in the office when it happened, but if something like that were to happen, that's a full-time job for prosecutors for, several months.
Yeah.
But I really think that where it was, $400,000 to $500,000 is where I'd like to get back to.
I have a quick one, and then we'll open it up for everybody else. You mentioned investigators.
Sure.
You have them dedicated to projects, I should call them cases or whatever you want to call them, or to areas. How do you farm them out? And are 3 enough?
Yeah, and that's something I'm looking at too, is I would like to get another investigator. I'm not probably gonna put it in this year's budget. It may be in the following year, 2027's budget. I'd like to have an investigator that could float between these 3 counties, Chaffee, Custer, and Park. Maybe have them based out of Chaffee or something, and cover all counties. Right now, I have a dedicated Chaffee investigator, a dedicated Park investigator, and then the 2 investigators and the chief are responsible.
Yeah, we
For Custer.
have things languishing from the past, and so that's important to us.
Absolutely, and I understand that, and, there's old cases, Sheriff Cooper from Fremont, when I was running, he told me that we've got some cases that we haven't submitted to the DA's office because we don't trust them.
Yeah.
When you get on board, then we're gonna send it to you. Okay. So, playing catch up is always a little bit rough, but it's the way that, it's what we do.
Well, we'll talk more. Thanks.
Okay,
Thank you.
absolutely.
We'll open it up. Anybody out here, we got a quick question? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a quick question.
State your
I know
name
it's-
first.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Ted Ballard. I'm actually in American Legion Post 170, representing that here. But I just have a quick question. I know it's in the news a lot and may not be this big deal in this part of Colorado. But how do you work with the way immigration enforcement is going on and all these types of things that you hear in the northern part of the state? And is there a big problem with that around here?
So we just had the meeting with all the area law enforcement heads. That's one thing we do, is we meet quarterly. I don't think the sheriff was down there from Custer because he has a family issue he's taking care of.
Right.
But all the Chaffee County, Park County, Fremont County, and we went around the room and asked that question. It's like, what's going on, with immigration? Is there any issues in any of the counties? And none of the area heads said they had seen anything related to any immigration. My position is, if you're not here legally, then you shouldn't be here. That's always been my position from the very beginning. And, there's a process in place, and if you want to come to the United States, you want to stay, then you should follow that process. Other than that, we just haven't seen that much. I think the focus has been more in the different metro areas as to, the immigration and what ICE is doing. The state of Colorado passed some really restrictive laws that prohibit law enforcement in Colorado from assisting
Right.
immigration and customs enforcement. If you follow local politics, you know, Sheriff Mikesell in Teller County has been kind of on the forefront and been working to some extent, I'm not sure how much he's doing, but working along those lines and doing what he can. So really not that much. And
Yeah.
to answer your question, we just haven't seen that much. And that goes from, you know, the prosecutor's office all the way down to the local law enforcement
Okay, well,
agencies.
I guess that's good, or I don't know. I know that there's a lot of, I guess, acceleration in that area especially. And, you know, there might be more things happening in the future. I was just wondering how your office is associated. It sounds like you just told me. You're not really-
Yeah. You know, that's we swear to,
That's obey what the state laws are, but, you know.
we swear to uphold the law, and the
Right.
law is what it is, so that's what we're doing,
Yeah,
to the extent we can.
Thank you,
thank you.
thanks. Another question? Come on, you got him on the hot seat. Jim?
I don't know if this can get answered, but I read someplace that the triple murder case was, the venue's changed.
So that happened, the venue was changed to Fremont on Mr. Clark, Henry Clark. And he's the primary defendant, he's the one that's charged with the actual murders. His co-defendant is charged as an accessory after the fact, so in other words, she helped him.
Can you
That's the
fill in the
allegation.
holes
Pardon?
of why?
You know, it's a long drawn out discussion. I objected to it. It was pretty well covered in the media. I think you know, my position was the people of Custer County are here, they get to make the decision. The judge didn't agree with me and felt like the media coverage maybe was more than what was necessary. I think it was gonna be difficult. You know, the courthouse in Custer's a little bit older, and to get probably over 100 potential jurors in that little building, I think was gonna be, she cited that as somewhat of an issue. That's just kind of the two things, the media coverage and just sort of the ability whether, you know, the courthouse could do that or not, that's what she cited. We are facing the same motion on Medina Coaches, the accessory. I think that's set in August, that motion is set in August. And we're objecting to that one as well.
Drawbacks of being tiny.
Right.
Drawbacks of being tiny.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens, yeah.
Okay, we've got another question in the back.
Not a question, but a statement. It has been a pleasure.
State your name.
Oh, Mike DeLaurentis, Custer County Sheriff's Office. It's been a pleasure seeing the changes in District 11's office since Mr. Lindsay took over. We are more accessible to him. He returns phone calls, his staff returns phone calls for questions. I personally know Stacy Turner, who he's talking about. She was a prosecutor back when I first started as a detective on the county task force. Excellent attorney. She's a value. We were sorry when she left. We're happy that she's back. So it does bring a lot to the Custer County residents to have staff like that available to us. So I appreciate everything that he has brought in the short amount of time to his office.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I really, one thing I meant to say about Custer is, and also the entire 11th JD, is we have all the good things about Colorado, right? All of the good things, the rural lifestyle, but we don't have the traffic. And so that's why I tell people when they remember, like, hey, you want to come down here and work? Like, yeah, well, it's not like I-70, 25, all of those congested areas. You know, maybe Highway 50 is a little bit crowded, or maybe, you know, coming up, there's going to be a semi or two that get behind, you know, on hardscrabble. But other than that, I can deal with that. You know, that's not an issue. I really appreciate the rural lifestyle that I think all these counties represent and bring to bear. It's truly the beauty of Colorado without the traffic. It's that simple.
Thank you. Thanks for the comment. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Commissioner Wilson.
We'll take Barry first.
Barry Keating, I just want to say, I'm tickled that I happened to be here today to hear your presentation, and I'm tickled with what you've done and what you are doing, your reorganization, the comprehensiveness of it, and welcome. Thank you.
Absolutely, glad to be here.
Okay, we have Kelly Camper, our clerk. She has a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So after every election, I send to one of the DA's investigators all of the names that got rejected during signature verification, because the judges didn't like the signature, it didn't match what we had on file, or, and other things sometimes. Over the 10 years I've been a clerk, and however many elections over 10 years, I've only heard back from the DA's office one time as to how that went, you know, this is what we found, we contacted these people, whatever. I'm just wondering, with you in there now, is that gonna change? Are we gonna hear back from you? Or does that do I just send them off and they just?
Yeah, what's the purpose?
Yeah, no, I think the elections are the lifeblood of democracy. They're what, you know, what we all stand for. It's what's created the United States of America, and I stand by what I've said in the past, that we're gonna investigate any issues in the election. We had some stuff happen in Fremont. We actually had some stuff happen statewide with some of the machines, and we got involved in that and put out some information as to what the end result was. I think we probably contacted your office and asked if there were any issues that you were aware of in the 2024 election. All county clerks, to all 4 of them, said, no, we're not aware of anything. And that to me was enough to say, you know, whatever happened with those machines and the passwords and, you know, the spreadsheets and how those things were out there for public consumption, it didn't affect anything in the 11th JD. Do you know, Ms. Camper, who you sent that list to? Was it one of so the investigators have changed since November?
They have, and I called your office when I got ready to send them. I believe I sent them in January, and got the name of a new investigator, not the
Probably our
person
chief,
that
Paul Martinez.
yeah, that might have been who it was, and that's who I sent them to. Whoever answered the phone told me which person to send them to. But it is important because,
Sure.
you know, if somebody is signing something that they shouldn't, and most of the time, you know, it's the husband's gone, the wife goes to turn the ballot in and says, oh, he forgot to sign, I'm just gonna sign for him. Most of the time it's like that, but, you know, every once in a while, there's one that shouldn't be. And so,
Yeah, we had one in,
we're just always curious what became of those.
we had one in Chaffee where they had a residence in Chaffee and a residence in Fremont, and we investigated that case. I don't remember what we did with it at the end of the day, but I will ask our chief investigator to reach out to you and let you know.
Okay.
We look at them all, and most of the times, what has happened in the past, we send letters and like, hey, what happened here? You know, it looks like you voted twice, what's the issue? You know, and then people respond to that. And so if it truly is a fraud on the election, then we're gonna prosecute those cases. You know, the Barry Morphew case is Stan Salagi voted for his wife. And we prosecuted for that, he wound up pleading guilty to a felony offense. Don't want to get into the rest of the issues that surround that case, but separately, you know, there was a vote that wasn't proper in that election. We prosecuted for that. So I am a firm believer in the integrity of elections. It's got to be, you know, airtight. It's got to be, you know, a good election, because then the citizens wonder, like, what's going on? And I don't, you know, not aware of a ton of fraud on elections, but we got to represent to the citizens that this, you know, election, you know, has a lot of integrity attached to it. It's very tight. So I'll check with investigator Martinez. Is apparently who you sent it to. and I'll ask him to get back to you and let you know how things are going.
That'd be good, thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Sure.
Anybody else?
Good.
Online? Okay, I want to thank you, Jeff, for coming. Isn't it great to have an elected official that affects your tax dollar directly, because we share proportionately by population the cost of supporting the activity that he's doing. So I want to say thanks for coming up. You don't have to stay to listen to everything, but you know, it's very interesting.
You know, I'm actually.
You can go back to the caboose if you want to.
Well, and I'm a working boss. I can tell you that we don't have any bosses in my office that don't actually carry cases or work in the court system. And so I'm a working boss, and I had to get coverage this morning for my docket, and I'm gonna head back probably and get there.
Get to work.
Afternoon docket, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I promise you guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna work hard. That's what I'm gonna do, and that's what I expect of my employees.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Well, thank you for thinking of us, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, good. We had another guest come in. Could you just state your name?
Joe Cook.
For the record. Thanks a bunch.
That's where the BOCC.
I should say citizen, not guest. Or boss is what we really need.
That's right, he's our boss.
That's right. Okay, thank you, Jeff. We'll see you later. Okay, up next is the Seifert Enterprises Agreement, and who we got? Bob. Thanks, Bob, for bringing it up.
Mr. Bob.
Yes, sir. Might explain what it is first so everybody understands.
Right, so this is a conclusion or the continuation of something I brought up in the past. Road and Bridge in the past has get their aggregate for their projects from Seaford in their different pits that they have. In the past, it's just a verbal that, you know, come in and get what you need and we'll charge you their agreed upon tonnage price. In recent, they, as I understand it, the Seaford's insurance carrier, is the way I understand it, has required that us and others who access the pits present or carry on our insurance and offer them as additionally insured on our contract and our insurance, as well as a waiver of subrogation. So we started down that path. In order for us to do those two things, our insurance carrier requires that those requirements be part of an agreement with whoever it is that's requesting those two things, in order for the insurance carrier to approve those two requirements. So working with Dan, we've put together a right to enter agreement that you have, basically just saying that Seaford allows us to enter those properties for the purpose of purchasing aggregate. There's 3 or 4, 5 different locations that they get the property aggregate from. And in result of that, in the agreement that the county agrees to waive subrogation and to list them as additionally insured as a requirement from our cap insurance. And so that's what this
Okay, I want to point
does.
out also is that it's not just with Seifert. We do buy aggregate from other local pits.
Correct.
They have different requirements.
Right.
And this requirement of waiving the subrogation and other things apply to all their contractors that purchase aggregate or any of the road base, any of the active materials to be, each contractor also does the same thing.
This contract only applies to Seifert.
Right.
In their pits. So if we get aggregate from another location that's not under the control of Seifert, then this does not apply to
And they have
them.
different insurance requirements.
Right, whatever it's their property, so they get to have the right to say what they want.
Okay, good explanation. Any thoughts, motions?
Now I'll make a motion to enter the agreement with Cipher. To use the
Per,
bids.
as described and
Yeah.
and presented. Dan, you didn't have any issues with the contract?
No, I drafted it.
He drafted
I know
it.
you did, but was there anything that,
No, I'm fine.
I've been in conversations back and forth with, I think it's Lindsay, as to how to go about the process. And when it first came up, I said, I can't do that, and she didn't understand why, and so I walked through all of that stuff, and
okay,
so now this is just the conclusion of all that process.
okay, Paul?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to enter the agreement as described and presented. Any comments publicly? Read that out. All right, all in favor of doing so, per the motion, say aye. Lucas?
Aye.
Paul?
Vogel, aye.
Kanda, aye. Let's do it, thanks. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break due to the length of where we are right now, and everybody take a break, and we'll come back in about 5 minutes. almost is all back. So spun up now, we're back online, and the time is now 10:04, so we spent the last hour on some good stuff. We'll continue with the rest of the agenda now. And that would be next up, the acceptance of the Ready 25-3048 Custer County Wet Mountain Valley Agriculture Marketplace Grant.
This is, I'll kick this one off. The Ready 25-348 grant, the project description is, the project consists of the establishment of the Wet Mountain Valley Agricultural Marketplace, a brick and mortar facility in downtown Westcliff aimed at directly connecting local agricultural producers, ranchers, and farmers with residents and tourists. This project intends to address economic hardship, particularly affecting the county's older adult and veteran populations by supporting the region's rich agricultural heritage and fostering year-round sales of locally produced goods. By creating a central marketplace, the initiative will support local agriculture, build community wealth and health, enhance community resilience, and promote Custer County's identity as part of the Valley Proud initiative in preparation for its sesquicentennial, our 150 years, which is in 2027. So the state hits 250? 150 in Colorado next year in 2026, and then the Custer County hits its 150th anniversary in 2027.
And the nation hits 250.
Yeah, the nation hits 250, that's right, okay, now I got it straight. I want to thank Deb Adams for going after this grant. We had talked often in tourism that we help out the lodging, the restaurants, the shops that sell shirts and their stuff along Main Street. We got to thinking, how do we help out, and how do we join in with our farmers and ranchers, our producers of vegetables and other products such as that, honey, or hemp or flax or grain products. And so we started with going down this road, and this grant became available from DOLA. The state really wants to help and benefit and bring things up like this thing that we're doing here. So we've kind of, but this was going to be a bigger project than what tourism wanted to take on. So we've turned this project over to John Van Dorn and Bianca, and Bianca really spearheaded a real initiative to and a passion for our farmers and our ranchers, our producers out in the valley and in the county as a whole, because we have ranchers down in Wetmore and other areas, San Isabel. So we just wanted to bring us all together and go, how does tourism and how does our farming and ranching culture, lifestyle work together and do something like this? So I'm going to kick this off to John at this point.
So before you do, and before you speak, John, let me make one sentence here. It says, in response to your recent request, I'm offering to enter into a contract for a grant in the amount of $100,000, just so the public understands the significance. To assist with the above mentioned project, we are pleased to make this investment and encourage growth, diversity, and resilience in the local economy. Over to you.
Okay. And Caitlin, you're going to help me out here. This is a working name for what we're doing here. Would everybody hear me without a microphone?
No, put it up there, because we need it for the.
Oh, for the record.
There you go.
Yeah, scare myself. So the working name for this is Agricultural Food Hub. And it turns out Food Hub is actually a thing. There's two other food hubs in Colorado, one in Alamosa and one in Colorado Springs. And all over the country, actually all over North America. So we're not doing anything new here. There are some really well-established software platforms to support this, where you've got 25, 50 agricultural vendors going through what really amounts to a new sales channel. A new sales channel opportunity, and not only for our existing ranchers and farmers, but as we were talking with one of our ranchers, Bianca and I, on Monday evening, this is a way for a new young rancher and farmer to actually be able to get started on something like 35 or 50 acres and have a sales channel where they can make a profit on their animal or their produce. So Caitlin, why don't you give me another? So what is it? This is, and one of the reasons it's not being run by tourism, it's really an economic development project. It's a food hub that connects people who produce food directly to consumers. And that might be tourists, that will be our full and part-time residents here in Custer County. But I think we need to take a regional look, and our market that we're going to be addressing will be Front Range, especially Pueblo, and also along 50 Kansas City as well. So it's a marketed sales channel for ag producers. It's also got a storefront on Main Street. You're actually able to do online sales here as well as at the storefront. Next one, Caitlin. What's the mission? To promote the diversity and value of food grown and produced in the region, and create, market, and operate a direct-to-consumer sales channel. That way that our producers are going to be able to sell their product at a retail rate and get a higher return for their efforts. Excellent. Values and benefits. So it increases access to fresh, locally grown food. So that's actually a benefit for our full-time residents and part-time residents and tourists. It allows farmers and producers to receive fair market value for the products. It helps to keep our agricultural lands in production for future and present generations. So we want that valley out there that we all appreciate, with the big, beautiful sand gray background, to be there for generations and generations. And it provides the use of the agricultural use of a historical Main Street building. That building actually used to be where they would warehouse and store lettuce and cabbage back in the days when we did that in the mountain.
Oh, the lettuce shed one.
It was a lettuce shed, and Commissioner Candace, old enough to remember.
I see the historical file.
So, yeah. So we put together a project team. Lucas Epp, Commissioner Epp, is the commissioner in charge of oversight. We report to him. I'm the co-lead along with Bianca Trenker. Yes, you are the co-lead. And Debbie Pauline is a neighbor of mine. She's agreed to do scheduling and budget oversight. We put together a preliminary Gantt chart for this because it's a pretty complicated project, and she has a lot of experience in project management. Peter Stadler, the building owner, and I think most importantly, a farm and ranch steering committee. Bianca's been reaching out to farmers and ranchers, and we've got some people that have agreed to be on that steering committee. to lessen the chances of us screwing things up, because if we're not talking to those people early in the process and understanding their needs, and building something that serves those needs, then we're gonna fail. See, what do we have now? This is the start of seed money for this. As a project manager, this is what I have to spend on various line items. Basically what this grant does, it gives us a 24-month runway to get this up and running and turned over to a new entity to be determined, so that the Custer County is no longer in the business of running this thing. That's what we got to work with. We've started to, we've got a draft business plan. We will have a marketing plan to go along with this. We have some money for a business consultant. We've identified probably who we want to use for our software platform for this project. We're reaching out to ranchers, especially because I think the heavy lift for this project is going to be processing and selling meat. It's going to be the most difficult for us in terms of logistics. And that will include a pretty large walk-in freezer, so that we've got meat flowing into the system in a freezer, segregated by rancher and type, and whether it's grass-fed or corn finished, and then getting that out the door. So that requires some additional logistics that some of the other products like bread would not. And then part of that is we need to determine how big that walk-in needs to be, and whether we can afford that size. So we might start smaller just because we don't have the funds to do everything at once. As we look at the schedule right now, it looks like, we're not going to be opening the doors until early next year. As we go through the planning process, create drawings, getting building permits, getting bids out, it's just going to take some time. So I think we're up to questions now.
Do you need to say anything?
I have one for you, John. Is the 6-month free rent just a one-time deal, or is it an ongoing?
The first 6 months are free. She's not charging anything for that. During that period, we're doing tenant improvements and electrical work and freezers and a new entrance on Main Street, because the current entrance is 100 years old and not friendly for people passing through.
Thank you.
You got anything? Okay, we'll open up a couple questions.
John, I didn't see anything for personnel on your budget.
There's nothing in the grant for personnel. One of the things that we're looking at, you might look at that. This is not like a grocery store with clerks and stock people working 7/24. We can start off very slowly with this, where we're only open, say, 4 hours a week. And people place their orders online ahead of time, and we have it all boxed up and ready for pickup. And so we just have one person in the building for that. Going forward, we're going to be doing more than that, maybe open, especially on, say, a Saturday or Sunday during the tourist season. We'll be open and have someone in the building. And
Where does it show up in the budget?
this is what I have to spend right now. So you know, we might be working with volunteers to do that. We might be working with the kids from FAA, because I think we want to get the youth involved in this. One of the things that came out in our meeting with the rancher on Monday is he said, you know, this might be a reason for some of our high school kids that basically finish high school and leave the county to stay, because they'll have a resource and a sales channel that allows them to maybe build a small agricultural business on their family's land.
Okay, anybody else? Quick.
Well, yeah, that actually opened up to a question I have now.
Yes.
Is this going to be a nonprofit then? Is it a nonprofit now? Or?
Right now, so that's a good question. So I mentioned we have a 24-month runway. Right now, the grant is to Custer County. So Custer County owns this for 24 months. And somewhere between month 12 and 18, we plan to have identified the entity that's going to take this over at the end of 24 months. Ideally, that's a nonprofit because they can go after grants and to support bringing in revenue to keep it going.
Okay, thank you. And I'm Ted Ballard.
Yeah, there was another question.
Yes, sir.
State your name.
Quick question about produce. So beef in one way is easier if you have it frozen, you just need the walk-in freezer.
Yes.
Have you given thought to produce display cases for the perishable goods?
Yes, and that is in the budget.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Any others? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Jim Cook. Is that $68,000 in rent for half a year, or is that for, what's the time period?
That's for 24 months total. The first 6 months are free, so the second, or the 18 months after that, and that's lease and utilities.
Any others, real quick? Okay, one now, anything online, question one. So here's the proposed, just 1 second, Jim, because you, go ahead on.
Yeah, I just had a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you anticipate the possibility of the ranchers / produce people actually establishing their own vending station, if you will, within
Within the space?
Within the space.
That is a possibility, yeah, where they rent the space, yeah.
Right.
Where we have basically a year-round farmer's market day.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to the question, in order to make this official, because the letter goes further with the DOLA, and she points out that please contact your regional manager, Randy Sneed, for information on how to proceed. As you know, no state funds or matching funds can be obligated before the grant contract is fully executed. Expenditure of any funds prior to the contract being fully executed cannot be included in the contract budget or reimbursed by the state. So we've got to do it in order to get it back. Apparently.
Well, we are accepting
if we accept
this contract.
That's right.
So that we are saying they've extended the contract to us. We're now accepting.
Now we have to enter the contract with them. That's the point.
Right.
Well, I think in reality, I think the board today would be voting to proceed with this.
Right.
But we don't have a contract in front of us to approve.
That's
or not
right.
approve. So then the contract would come to the county, presumably I would take a look at it, and if we had any questions or concerns, the board would have a second opportunity to approve entering into the contract at a future meeting.
Meaning that we have to put some effort into it. In other words, it is a county project until it becomes a citizen or another nonprofit or something.
Yeah, it would be county funds at that point,
Yeah.
because the grant money would be coming to the county.
Right. Okay, quick question there.
Is there conditions before the state reimburses the county?
That was part of it right there. So we've got to get the contract
Do they have the
undertaken.
opportunity to not reimburse?
We have an opportunity not to accept it. And they,
Yeah, but I mean,
if we don't follow the criteria, they cannot refund it if we don't do it. I mean, we've had this experience in the past with many grants where we get them and we have to execute it and then they reimburse the county.
And to get the grant, we had to give them the budget of what we were gonna spend.
Yeah, right. Another one there?
Briefly to clarify, so we have not seen the grant contract yet, correct? Thank you, sir.
I haven't seen it.
No, we've not.
So what we're gonna do is, the motion would be, and I'll make it, I move that we proceed and pursue the acceptance of the grant as pointed out here, and that's the, I can state the name, I guess, the Wet Mountain Valley Agricultural Grant.
Marketplace.
Marketplace grant, yeah.
We need that.
The ready 25, 30, 48 grant. Okay, and that means, per what Dan said, we would wait for the contract and we'll discuss it and see if the terms meet what we can support. Okay, so it's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, so we'll open it up for some questions. And like Debbie raised her.
Well, so I got the email along with Lucas, so if this is approved, I've been in touch with Desiree and Lucas, you've seen that they've been sending us emails asking, so who would follow up with that particular email?
I'll follow up with that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And
That's good, there's no matching on this grant?
who don't know.
No, there is matching.
Don't know what.
Yeah.
What's the matching?
So around $20-some thousand. Some of it we've gotten already from, Betcher gave the $5,000. So this is gonna come out of tourism's budget, but the county's gonna support this as a county initiative.
So what was the percent match?
So it's a 69-31, but what he is giving, so what the owner of the building is giving in-kind donations can be used for part of that match.
That's right. That's $68,000 for the year.
The match is $62,700.
Okay, and some of that can be the rent, some of that can be
Yes.
other items given, so.
Good question. And we'll get more answers when it comes back. Any other questions?
You had a statement? Or
Yeah,
state your name.
I'm sorry, Gina Graham, and I work with this team on submitting the grant. I'm a grant writer. I was going to say the same thing you said, Lucas, about the rental contribution is part of the match. But I also wanted to say that the county is, when we contracted with me, or when tourism contracted with me, I will be doing a funding strategy, which is looking for additional grant funds for this project based on the successful receipt of the DOLA grant.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, thanks. Anything online?
No.
Back here, somebody? No? All right, hearing none, all in favor of supporting the grant, Ready Grant 25-3348 to proceed. Say aye, Lucas.
Aye.
Paul.
Lois, aye.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, John.
Kanda, aye.
I was gonna say.
Thanks for you doing it, but thanks, you thank me. All right, thank you.
19.
Moving along, Debbie,
Yes.
Tourism Office Marketing Grant presentation.
Okay, so we have an opportunity.
Here, Debbie.
Mike.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. Only for you.
It goes other ways too, so
I know.
we can hear you.
Okay, so we have an opportunity from Colorado Tourism Office for a marketing grant. It opened, it closes on August 28th. We'll be notified on October 28th, and it's a project for 2026. And what tourism has decided that we need to do is totally restructure our website. Our website is coming up to a decade old. There are challenges that we face with it. So we are going to request a $10,000 grant with a $2,500 match. CTO has $550,000 that they will be offering with this marketing grant, and they plan on supporting 12 to 15 projects.
Low battery, please charge.
Someone did.
Is that this?
Got a little battery
No,
somewhere.
I'm still there, okay. So, and they're also encouraging in the application that we might be doing something with America 250 and Colorado 150. And what I'll be putting out there for the grant is the fact that this is us getting ready for our own
Yes.
our own
Birthday
celebration, our
party.
own celebration in 2027. So what I am seeking today is permission from the BOCC to apply for this grant, and then I will also be requesting a letter of support.
Okay. No, and thank you for what I think the airport website has definitely is a lot better than what it used to be, so.
I was gonna bring that up. I think
That
you-
wasn't hard, Lucas.
I was gonna bring that up. There you have some lessons learned from that experience as well, and a good product that resulted, so it ought to give you a leg up on this, I would hope.
Well, that's why we, after the airport website was done, we really saw how our current website falls short in many areas. But it is 10 years old. It also has way too many plugins. Usually a website might have maybe 7 to 10, and right now we have like 32. It's ridiculous.
Okay. Make a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the Colorado Tourism Office Tourism Marketing Grant.
Are we just bidding for it? We haven't been offered it, right?
What?
Well, we need to
We have to
go after the
apply.
grant.
Apply, yeah.
So apply,
We're
yes.
applying for that.
I have
Amend
to-
my motion to apply.
I have to apply by August 28th
Right.
at 4 p.m.
The wording of the motion is.
Yes, yeah,
Are we good?
you got a second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the grant application process, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, any other questions up here? Points?
I don't know.
Public comments online?
Do you want to add letter of support to that?
Oh, yes.
I don't know, was it?
I will amend to add
requesting
letter
it?
of support.
Good point.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we'll restate that, and we're gonna restate what you think you heard, Kelly, because that would make it clearer.
So what I've got is a motion to apply to,
CTO grant?
apply for the grant and write a letter of support for the grant.
Yes.
Okay,
And I second it.
it's been moved and seconded, and if there's any other comments, let's hear them. All right, then in that case, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Lucas?
Aye.
Paul?
Vogelsong, aye.
Kanda, aye.
Thank you.
Make it so.
Thank you, Deb.
Okay, looks like the American Legion's
Yeah,
gonna
Ted.
bring us some samples.
It's gonna be.
So the American Legion has applied for a special events permit for their Blues, Brews, and Barbecues event that they are going to be holding.
It's a great name.
August 23rd and 24th. It's at the Beckwith Ranch, and it looks like Richard can explain more.
Okay, go ahead.
What questions do you have for me?
Okay, where is it? It's at Beckwith, and you got it all.
So it's the 5th annual Blues Festival. It's an event that we do to raise funds to assist veterans, widows, widowers in the county. It's going to be August 23rd and 24th. Normally we file this with the city of West Cliff, but we've always done it within the city. So this is a new process for me.
Right.
And we're all set to go. And We filed with Westcliff already and already got all the permits and we found out that we need to do it in county. So that's why we would have been there last week. Soon, we're still within the time.
You got plenty of time.
Yeah. We'll be at the Beckwith Ranch and it'll be a 2-day festival. Vendors.
Okay. I'll make the motion, then we can discuss it. I move that we approve the application for the special event that the American Legion is sponsoring, the Blues, Brews, and Barbecues event.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Comments? Any comments out here in public? All thumbs up.
You've got the posse on for traffic control?
Yes.
Okay.
Comment?
Good.
Okay, no comments other than that. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Lucas?
Aye.
Paul?
Vote on that.
Kanda, aye.
We're good.
Thank you, Richard. Thanks for waiting. Thanks for enjoying the meeting.
Oh, it's a big pleasure.
Here.
There you go. Keep that out of the
Don't
front.
do that.
Don't do that. Okay, next up, we've got the sheriff's county vehicle discussion and presentation. Go ahead, come on up, Mike. Announce who you are and give us a handshake. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, everyone.
Okay.
Mike DeLorenz, Chief of Staff, Custer County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Smith is out of town on a family type emergency. His father-in-law was having heart surgery, emergency heart surgery, so him and his family flew out to be with his wife's family, so he sends his apologies for that.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I submitted a vehicle fleet list to the commissioners a week or so ago. You should have a copy of that. It shows updated everything we have. It shows the 4 new vehicles that were donated to the Sheriff's Department. They aren't in use yet. They're just being not outfitted. They came completely outfitted.
When you say new, make it clear. They're used,
they're
but
used
they're
vehicles,
in good
right.
shape, and you might explain the shape there.
Sure. There are 2000, let me put my glasses on, I'm sorry. 2017 Ford Explorer police packages. They have they're between 64 and 74,000 miles, which are really pretty good, to be honest with you. For the price we got them for through the donations, unheard of, to be honest with you. All the police equipment is, and yesterday I was up there looking at them, they're in. They all have actually dash cameras in them too, which is a big plus, because that's a $5,000
per
option.
vehicle?
Yeah, cost. That would cost us. All we'd have to do is have them programmed and have a server. And we've talked to Vernon about that and John about the cost of that, and he said it would be very minimal. So that's a plus in our book. They're just getting all the lights and sirens and everything checked out to make sure everything works. The installer is putting the graphics on for the Custer County Sheriff's Office, which will be next week. Everything should be ready to go. Also shows on here the Durangos. It says TBS to be sold. 2 of them, Walsenburg. We've been in negotiations back and forth with Walsenburg on buying 2 of them. They're finally have agreed to a final price, which has been sent to the attorney's office for approval, with the commissioner's approval and that, and then some dialogue on when the payment will be made and vehicles and that. And they've also contacted me in the last couple of days asking if we had any more. Apparently their fleet is very disastrous, can't even pull out of the parking lot without breaking down. It's been terrible for them, so they're really in a bind. Some of the other things, we've had other vehicles donated to us just recently. A horse trailer with a tack room that can be used in fire emergencies or any emergency if we have to help move livestock in case of a large, forest fire or that. So that's what our plan is, to be able to use that to assist the public in moving livestock or anything we need. Say an accident on the road and we've got livestock out, we could bring the trailer out and help
take care of that, so.
Is that a 4-horse or 3-horse?
I was just.
Oh, it's a big one, it's
like.
It might even be 6.
it's 6 or 8, yeah, it's a good 50 feet long, I would
Probably
say.
6.
Yes,
Yeah.
that must be 6 then.
Yeah, it's pretty big, and we've got a vehicle, I don't know if it's the vehicle from the county health department that would pull it, with the 5th wheel and that, and then we just had the other day, somebody donate a, call it a 2 1/4 vehicle. It runs, everything's fine, it's just, the gentleman who has it's older, didn't want, it's been sitting on his property, so they.
What is it? What year?
It's a 2 1/4, that's all, I haven't even looked, I saw it this morning.
Military.
Yeah, military, big, 6-wheel drive, 6-wheel drive,
Yeah.
full, high up in the air, that can be used again for, if we have any, God forbid we don't, any flooding or anything where we, snow problems, need to get people out of an emergency
Or rough
basis.
terrain anywhere.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
People tend to get hurt.
Right, so, and I have been talking to Commissioner up, so we're gonna I'll put together a list of all the vehicles that have been donated. I know the sheriff had sent the attorney on the Explorers, but we'll put a list together, for the county commissioners so they can accept the donations. I believe that's the proper protocol. We'll get with
Keep
Vernon.
working with finance.
Yeah, with Vernon and finance to make sure that we pull that up next time and go from there. I just brought back the new SRO vehicle that we purchased back in March with the county's approval, the Ford Ranger truck. It's all equipped, ready to go. They're putting their final, deputies' equipment in it. Our fleet is probably right now where we're headed at the best it's ever been from what I'm being told. Mileage-wise, once we get rid of the Durangos, we will have virtually maybe, except for the Truck 7, which is a older Dodge Ram, which we put the engine in a little over a year ago, everything's under 100,000 miles.
So we've got 4 Durangos that you mentioned they have to get rid of. And
yes.
One of them happens to be a 2020, which is a lot newer than.
Right, and that's got the highest mileage out of everything. That one has 103 or 4 now, I'll have to go look. Yeah, it's got the highest mileage out of everything right now. One Durango, one of the older ones, has just turned 97,000 miles. So
we're gonna have to, with finance and Luke, figure out where they ought to be best used or so.
Yeah, right now they suggested, like I said, we've got 2 of the Durangos that'll go to Walsenburg, and they've asked for 2 more. We could negotiate a price with them if they're interested.
Well, they don't have far to drive if it's just in Walsenburg.
True, exactly. And it saves, if we were, it was suggested us, we may get a little more money. I've done a KBB, price comparison on them. Anywhere between 13 for the 2017 Durangos and the 2018 Durango, anything between 13 and 16,000 is an average price for them to go, but that's stripped. I gotta pay somebody to strip them, and then you got all that equipment. So we could, they suggest we take them up to roller auction if we wanted to, but again, now you got a 2-hour drive there, a 2-hour drive back. At least three people driving the cars, wanting to bring everybody back. Stripping them they're charging about $1,200 to $2,000 to strip them, so it may be better off to try to get rid of them with the equipment, take in 13, 14, 15,000 for them, and saving a lot of time and energy and manpower and cost to the county. The sheriff has been very committed since I've been there of trying to save the county money, have me get the fleet up with him and work on that, so we bring down our cost of maintenance. Last year, our maintenance cost was right around $46,000 or $47,000, which is high in my book. This year, we're at about 18,000. Again, we know you're gonna have tires and, oil changes and stuff like that, so we're trying to take the bigger things, like an engine, out of that.
Mix of maintenance.
Yeah, try to make the maintenance a little bit. Yes, sir.
One question, the Deuce 6x, is it a diesel or gasoline?
The one that was donated?
Yeah.
That's a diesel. It looks like a complete military type vehicle.
Like carry-all thing.
Yeah, correct.
I was just looking at the maintenance on it and everything.
Yeah, well, that, we're gonna take a look at it, and there's nothing to say, there's no restriction on that, we didn't get it from the 1033 program or that, so if it turned out that we wanted, if the county wanted to sell it or give it to Road and Bridge, is something to help them out, that may be something they could use. It's not a dump truck, but it's, it's a personnel carrier type of thing, they could put equipment, they could put a water tank on it, I mean, that type of thing.
What are we thinking about our transport van? I know that one's.
We've got a sheriff's department looking at the transport van we have right now, which has really got high mileage on it. He was going before his county commission to ask to purchase it. It runs, everything is,
Where is it?
What's that transport?
the green transport van.
itself.
Yeah, top heavy. I drove it for something the other day or last week to take it for some maintenance of some sort. And it's really top heavy going through that 96 curves and that. It's not four-wheel drive.
At least it's not a
all-wheel
semi
drive.
truck, it won't roll over.
Yeah, a blow.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had a rash of those.
Dan's got a question.
I just had a couple of comments. I had sent the sheriff back the revised agreement with Walsenburg last month. So I think that's ready to be put on an agenda at any point.
I think, I thought the sheriff had told me a couple weeks ago that it was gonna be on this agenda, but apparently not, so.
It was up to you guys, I thought you.
But the last I heard is that had fallen through,
What?
and so.
On June 23rd, I had sent him back. He had asked me on June 23rd, and that same day I sent it back to revisions.
Right, they're originally, I shot for the sky with the price and that. They originally accepted, I think, because they were, their chief was hurting for vehicles and that, and with their city manager being gone and that, he said that their commission, not their commissioners, they're called trustees.
County managers.
Yeah, they said it was a little high. We renegotiated a figure at 42 something, which would be about 21,000 some odd dollars per
Is
vehicle.
that what he had, or?
Is that the one you have, the 42 something?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
that's the one, so
42,888.
that went back to them, they agreed on that, a one-time payment to make on that instead of the two like they originally had wanted, so that just has to be approved by the board.
So I'll get that to Caitlin again, and.
Let's do it next time.
We'll do
Or whatever. I guess it's next week.
Yeah, next week.
And like I said, then just Friday, they called me and asked, hey, I guess they had a couple more cars break down. They
So is
said,
there
do you have
anything
any?
else on this list we need to approve next time?
Well, we need to talk about the donations,
Yes, we
the vehicle donations, because I think there were some conditions that the commissioners probably need to discuss
need to
with
see
those
that.
donations
Yeah.
before the county can accept.
I'll
them.
put that together.
The personnel carrier, it sounds like there's not conditions, right? Or
I'm
there
sorry.
are?
The
I think you
6
said
by-
that there's no conditions as to the personnel carrier.
Right, no conditions to
So
that, they
that-
just said have it.
That's not as big of a deal as the other one where there were certain conditions.
So we can see that
Commissioners
next
might
time.
want.
Yeah, I'll put together a letter, send it, I'll have the sheriff send it to the
Phrase
attorney.
it correctly with him so that we can approve something.
Yes, sir.
Not get here and say, well, let's do it next time.
Yes, sir, no problem.
Verbiage.
And the sheriff may have sent me some, I don't know if all the conditions, but he sent me kind of a list of what he thought may be the conditions. So if we can get that just nailed down, we can have that on the agenda as well.
That should have been the final conditions that the donors had asked for.
Okay, so I'll get that to the commissioners. or
Maybe next week
Real.
when the sheriff's back, maybe you and him and I can get on the phone together and we could make sure that, like
And
the
we gotta make
commissioner said, the
sure the
wording's all
donor gets a
proper.
letter from us stating it's a donation. And
Correct.
so we got proof of in and out budgets as well as them getting a tax deduction on.
Yes, sir.
donation.
Well, the problem with the tax deduction is that they're gonna want, basically, when the sheriff's department is done with the vehicle, they want the vehicle back.
No, that's an option they have, sir. They either can take the vehicle back or request that if it is sold, that, on that paper you should have got,
Yeah.
that if it is sold, that the money go into the vehicle, replacement fund or equipment fund for the sheriff's
For the
department,
sheriff's department.
help pay for other things. That's
Yeah,
another
that's what
thing
they
that.
want, it's up to them.
Today, Mr. Watts from Watts Outfitting, who is finishing our vehicles, was gonna do a presentation. He wound up, something came up with him, he asked if he could do it on the second commissioners meeting in August, which is the 20-something,
Yeah,
if I'm not
he
mistaken.
wants that, and I forget the reason why, it's because.
Yeah, so what he's gonna do is put a presentation together for the commissioners and the county that shows the benefits of leasing or buying outright and turning them in, Again, he suggests a certain mileage that the vehicles are gotten rid of, because you get, in a lease, you get the residual value, get more back for the trade-in. And that's the type of thing where, when the lease is up, you hand him the keys, he hands you whatever amount of vehicles that you had leased from him. There's no transfer of money or anything. Or if you make a buy, again, you keep the mileage at a certain amount, so your sales of those vehicles are high. Like, I've been watching some of the 2023 Tahoes like we have, used with 75,000 miles, going for almost $40,000 used. You know, with no police equipment in them. I mean, that's outrageous. The used car market's terrible right now. So he's gonna present that to you and then give you a couple different options for further down the road, 28, 27, 28, 29. So,
Yeah.
and our goal, and his
The 30th
options.
is our next meeting.
I'm sorry, what?
The 30th is our next.
Okay, I think that's the one.
But then we're not gonna meet until the 13th.
Correct, be the first.
And that'll be in Wetmore.
Right, that's the one that's gonna be in Wetmore.
Yeah, okay.
We told him
You guys
that.
are good with that, okay.
Yeah, he was good with that, he put it on his schedule. They just got hit with something really big over at their office, and they were scrambling to make room for all sorts of stuff. They took on 2 more big police departments, so he was just making
So
room for everything.
Clarification, the WOCS presentation is on which day? Because Aaron had told me the 27th of August.
Well, that's what she had given me, so if it's whatever the one was, Aaron, I remember she had said it was in Wetmore.
Okay.
That's the 13th.
Okay, so.
Let's verify with Watts.
Yeah, I'll verify with him. The 27th sounds right, but.
Of what month?
Of August, next month. So I will verify with Aaron
You
and
can't
I'll
do
call
it on
Watts.
the 13th, that's 2 weeks later, so that's quite a bit down the road.
Yeah, okay. So do you have any questions for me that I can help answer at all? I know the sheriff's really been committed on trying to save us money. That's why we went to Watts. He's a little bit closer, a little bit better. We had purchased those vehicles in March. We've already got one done. He'll have another one next week, plus the Explorer's done, and then another one the week after. Compared to lighting a vehicle like we did with the Denver company, sat for a year.
It's a lot cheaper too.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
I think that's it.
Bill?
Yes,
Have a comment?
Susie.
So, just something to keep in mind when he accepts a military vehicle is that they cannot be plated.
Okay.
So,
Good.
just a
Good
heads
point.
up.
Thank you.
There was something though, I've seen private citizens with military, like the deuce and a quarters.
And I think they can give antique or special.
Yeah, there is a way to do it.
It's not, but it's not
Depends
a.
on,
Right.
what they are and what they're, but they can't, 99% of them cannot be plated.
See, with the ones we get from the 1033 program, which is a DRM program, they don't have a title. This is a private citizen who already purchased it, so I believe there is a title available on that one. That's the difference.
And it might have been a title, because that's only come about in the last 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
It might have been a title that was done prior to that,
Yeah.
but then we can't keep going forward with it.
Okay, we'll make sure that we research that with the vehicle too, and how we have to plate it, or
With her
a
before you
special,
go.
I know they have a special thing where you're only using it so many times a year, like the MRAP. You don't have to plate it, it's got an exempt special use type of deal.
Okay, get with Kelly and after you figure it out.
Okay.
We'll go. Any other, these are just a presentation, got anything else to ask them?
Which 2 are getting sold to Walsenburg, the 18 and the 20? And
yeah,
the
the
217s they might be interested in?
Yeah, the 18 and the 20 and the 217s they may be interested in.
Okay.
The only Durango, I believe, the only 2 Durangos we would have left, would be the old K9 Durango vehicle, which is being used as a spare for posse, and that only has 70,000 miles on it. And then right now, the detective unmarked Tahoe, which was kind of that was originally, from what I understand, the sheriff's, not the sheriff, but the one before was his vehicle, so it's a little bit nicer all the way around, but it's got 100,000 miles on it too.
Okay.
But the way she drives it, it's not a everyday patrol out there, so that's a little bit better than the other ones.
Okay.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen, appreciate it.
Appreciate it, good job bringing it, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dan, I'll get with you next week, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm sending you an email right now.
Okay, thank you.
Donation.
Okay, we're getting up here to the last of the agenda, and that would be House Bill 25-1247 lodging tax increase discussion. You got that?
It's within our preview of, as the BOCC, to decide whether we want to go for this initiative or not. This is an initiative that we can do each and every year.
Yep.
If we so choose to go to the public with this. We can raise it from 4%, or from 2%, all the way up to 6%. So, just want to get the ball rolling, and we have to have an answer to Kelly by Friday, so.
This Friday.
And then from what Kelly told me before the meeting, she needs the language as soon as possible, but how many weeks at the most can we go out for the language?
Tell us the process.
So once you guys have the language, then Dan would do a resolution. And the resolution, I need to send a copy of that to the Department of Revenue so that they can review it before it goes on the ballot, so that if any, to make sure it's written correctly. They want their stuff by the end of July.
Okay.
We can push it. I don't need my stuff for the ballot until September 5th, but we don't want to wait until the end of August to have the wording, to send it to Department of Revenue and have them say, you're gonna have to reword this, and we don't want to wait till the last minute.
Okay.
Does the board have to send you some sort of letter to let you know, essentially reserving space on the ballot? I know the special districts have a deadline to do that.
No, not necessarily. The resolution will be
Okay.
fine.
So what are we, so Friday's when we have to make a decision today to do it, or to consider doing it? What are we doing?
Submit it.
So when Lucas talks about Friday as the deadline, that's when other districts and stuff that are gonna be on the ballot, they need to let me know by. I know that you guys are considering this, so.
So we don't, okay, so we got
Yeah.
time to do this right.
You do, but like I said, you don't wanna wait, if you decide that this is what you're gonna do, you just don't wanna wait until the end of August to get the question to me.
So would.
Or some beginning of
September.
And unfortunately, August 13th, we're in Wetmore, and I don't like doing things like this big of things down in Wetmore.
Because of the audience.
Yeah.
Because it's not in our county seat. I like making decisions like this in our county seat. I thought we had to have a for sure BOCC decision to Kelly by Friday.
We need to get
whether we were
discussion
gonna
on-
go forward or not.
So, yeah, I'm trying to separate the two. We have a motion of some kind to go forward, but we're not considering an amount yet. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well,
If we're gonna do it at all.
You're gonna have to have an amount.
Right.
By next week, so that we can have something drafted, if not the 13th, at least by the 20th, and that's gonna really put Kelly in a bind.
Yeah.
So,
for the Department of Revenue.
What I might suggest is, number one, you gotta have an amount by next week.
We have a meeting next Wednesday.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, by next week, you guys need to come up with a decision,
Okay, so-
if you're gonna be on the ballot.
So we need to
Come up with
have
that.
something before us to consider on the 30th.
And then I would suggest maybe we put it on the agenda on the 13th for discussion, just in case any of you want to tweak the language.
Sure.
But then we don't actually approve it until the 20th, and I don't know, Kelly, if you can get a draft to the state?
Well, that's
and
what I
say
was
this
just
is
gonna
what we're gonna
say,
consider
yeah,
on
yeah.
the-
If you have a draft by the 13th, I can probably send that to them, and then if something does need tweaked, hopefully I can get it.
And we need to get something before, in the BOCC meeting publicly, to discuss an increase in the bed tax, lodging tax.
And I'm reminded by Caitlin that it's actually the 21st. I believe that's a Thursday meeting.
Okay. Oh, it is, because we did move it.
Yeah, because you
That's
clock
right.
that.
That's right. Okay, so we gotta consider something on Wednesday, so do we understand what we're gonna do on Wednesday now? We're gonna move, that we're gonna proceed, is that what?
Well, I
with something in front of us.
If you're gonna do something, I think maybe you should decide the day that you're gonna do it, and then by Wednesday, you guys need to have some numbers put together.
Well, to do it or not,
yeah,
things. Today we could.
Yeah, there's no sense discussing it if we're not gonna move forward with the initiative, the ballot initiative.
Right. So
I imagine that you want staff or somebody to put together numbers.
Yeah, we need to know, all right, what do we,
Before
last
next
thing
week.
I heard about this was Debbie brought it up, and a good thing was, we've had this tax at 2% forever. Is it smart to raise it? Other counties have, Denver's doing 9% or whatever. And, can our flow of tourism through here stomach an increase? And the county, is it the right thing to do? And Debbie pointed out then, maybe not, because we've gotten tax weary, and the revenue is peeled off a little bit, and we've got plenty of for tourism money at that point. Maybe that's changed. I saw a letter that Debbie put out just recently.
So that was a write-up by Wayne Ewing.
Yeah, Wayne Ewing.
Kristen, could you, sorry.
Caitlin.
Could you put up that chart that I sent to all of you this morning that showed the different lodging tax and total guest tax around the state? Because that will just give you content as far as, you know, what other areas are charging with lodging tax, sales tax, and total guest tax. And Bianca, what is our total guest tax now?
It's currently 9.9%.
So it's the 7.9 plus the 2%.
7.9 is retail, and then 2% is county lodging.
So we need to have something saying, we need to, with the public, if they want to argue with us, they need to hear that, all right, what's the number we want? We got to throw
2 and
something.
6, yeah.
Debbie?
In just asking an individual, I asked them 2 questions. The first question was just, would you approve an increase in the tourism lodging tax? And I didn't give them any other information except that. The answer was no.
Did they ask what it was?
Well, so that was the first question, just saying, would you, vote for an increase in lodging tax? Then the second question I asked was, would you approve a lodging tax increase if it was for workforce housing and childcare? And the answer was yes. So they don't want to increase the lodging tax specific to tourism, but they would support it if it was funds that were going towards workforce housing and childcare. Right now, American tourism is taking a big hit, so it's flat or down.
Right.
Hopefully that won't stay that way. But I also pointed out to Wayne Ewing in his article where he said how our lodging tax was $94,000. We have been riding a good wave because of COVID.
Right.
But if we go back to pre-COVID, then our lodging tax revenue is under $60,000.
And so that brings up the question that we can always consider it the next year or whatever, if things don't bear out that way. So it's a discussion we have to have and put in front of the public first before we vote on.
And Debbie brings up a very good point, which is not only do you have to consider the numbers, you have to consider what you want to use it for. What do you want?
That's right, and what guarantees it can be
for?
used for that if
Because
it's a tourism tax?
Because there's only certain things that you can use it for, obviously, under the statute, but that's a much wide, what the statute allows for is a much wider use than what we currently use the lodging or our tax for. So the question is, does it just go to tourism, does it go to workforce housing, does it go to, you know, something else that the
Yeah,
statute
we
would
would
allow?
have to vote to limit that somehow, we have to make it.
Well, it needs to be earmarked, it has to be, by definition, earmarked somehow.
Right.
In the ballot question, so that question has to be answered in the next few weeks too.
You got a question? Oh, Barry, yeah.
That
I was
is
gonna-
not what's being discussed today. What's being discussed today is to do it or not, no amounts, okay? The amounts, and I'm disappointed we're not gonna have more time to negotiate this, but the amounts are then negotiated in terms of reallocation, as you suggest. But your question, I'm pretty sure today is, do you wanna raise the tax at all or not? If we're not, then you don't have to worry about it. If yes, then we got a lot of work to do to discuss how to balance that out.
Stacy Taylor has a comment online.
Okay, go ahead. Who, Stacy?
Stacy, yeah.
Hi
Stacy?
guys, yep, can you hear me? I'm sorry I can't be there in person. I'm actually up in Denver at a meeting right now. And a lot of this discussion at our meeting with my colleagues around the state is focused on this. There's quite a few counties that are moving forward with this lodging tax increase initiative, and how they're going to be doing that either in November of 2025 or November of 2026. I am coming back with a lot of resources and tools. As Barry said, if you guys do decide to move it forward this coming November, I know it'll be a lot of work, but the work that I'm doing yesterday and today will bring tools and resources, ideas, best practices on what other counties have done and how to do this correctly. So Barry's right, you just need to decide today, but I will have information that I will be willing to share and educate BOCC as well as the community on how and where and why, if there is an increase, these funds could be utilized. And as Deb said, you know, workforce housing and childcare and others, there is interest in our community to put money into that because right now there is no, I should say, very limited local funding into those components. So food for thought for you guys as you decide that today, but that's the work I'm doing yesterday and today is to bring back tools and resources and helpful best practices on communities that have just gone through this or will be going through this at the same time.
Okay, thank you, Stacy. Barry, you got another question?
Yeah, today's decision that you have to make, I want to bring a broader perspective to that. We have a housing needs assessment undergoing right now that looks at a broader picture of the future of the county, of the future of the Wet Mountain Valley. And one of the things that we see there is that there is no ongoing revenue source for things like childcare and housing. And where we're hurting, where we're dying is that the young families, we need to retain young families and we're not. So this is a revenue source that comes from outside the county. It doesn't burden county taxpayers. It's unfortunate it has the word tax in it because everybody is against taxes to some degree. But this is a revenue source that's discretionary spending from outside of the county that we don't have another way to get at. And the tourism dollars that come into the county, there's no natural mechanism to see to it that they flow to some of the things that are affected by tourism, but have no way to recover the costs that they're affected. Road and bridge, EMS, so on and so forth, they're all run by property tax. So this is a wonderful revenue source that you can decide to take or not take. We'll figure out along the way, as Stacy says, exactly what that recalibration should be, how it's used. But this is a source that there's not another way to replace. This comes from outside. It is revenue that is being brought to the county through discretionary spending that people have the opportunity to do. And it allows them to contribute a little bit to those that we need to support to bring up our younger workforce in the county. When that housing needs assessment is released, which is going to be in a couple weeks, you'll find that it is a scary document. It shows us dying, okay? It shows us aging out and no new youth coming in at the bottom to replace and become the workers of the county. So
that's a bigger picture about this lodging tax. It's a source of revenue that's an ongoing source, and yeah, it'll go up and down a little bit, but it would be an annual source that can go into this. It's a sustainable source. And whether it's a little lower because people are scared to death to go on tour right now, or a little better, we'll see over time. I think over time, we'll see people coming back to tourism. It may be more local, you know, from Denver metro area rather than from Kansas City.
Okay, thanks, Barry. Gotcha. Good points. You got another one back here.
Yeah, as far as I understand.
State your name.
Bianca Turner.
I know who you are.
Lodging and extended stay, so also on the tourism board, also a good friend of Barry. So I kind of have, I feel like a few different perspectives on this. So from what I understand, the state initiative is possibly raising it up to 60%, but also including 3 different categories. Right now, all promotions that have been for decades are earmarked for promotion. In this initiative, that category will be promotion, workforce housing, and childcare. So if the county decides to keep it at 2%, all 3 categories will still stay in those 2%.
Which is always the case, right?
No?
No.
I think that needs to be
We have to
clarified.
decide to do that.
Well, okay, but I think that could happen, and it needs to be clarified, because it is a little bit of, you know, tourism is what feeds this tax. And if that stays at 2% and gets divided into thirds, you're not taking the water away from your garden. And
It doesn't work that way.
Okay, okay. Well, and so, and the other part of it is, the workforce housing and childcare will also help feed the lodging industry and the tourism industry, because now we have places for our workers to stay, to work for the restaurants, for the lodging and the bars or whatever, as well as childcare while they're at work. So it's, I mean, both sides have an advantage. I just think there's a few things as going forward, I might not be on agreement.
No, okay. Well, I got it.
Yeah.
But you're gonna say the same thing again, Barry?
No, sir.
Okay, good, and I wanna make a comment, go ahead.
Just a point of clarity, if you make no decision to increase it, it stays where it is and it still goes 100% to tourism, 2% goes 100% to tourism. If you make no decision, or if you decide not to raise it, it's only if you raise it that then you get the opportunity with the ballot language to do a redistribution of the percentages of the additional money, which comes through the ballot initiative. So,
You agree with that, Debbie?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would hope that, you know, we're already on a thread with the 2%. So I would hope that that is not impacted, because if it is, we will not be able to promote.
That's the whole point. Okay, that's my comment.
And the statute makes it clear that the increase would be designated for things other than what it's currently designated for. It wouldn't impact the 2% that already exists.
It already exists, unless we decide.
And the statute has already had housing and childcare for tourism-related workforce and other workers in the community. What the statute does add is the opportunity to use some of that fund for public infrastructure maintenance or improvements and enhancing public safety measures by funding local law enforcement, fire protection, and emergency medical services.
As other uses. So that's the point I was gonna try to make, not exactly that. The bottom line is we don't wanna do anything that would impact our tourism dollars of getting people in here, because all that goes to every business and enhances a lot of, if you look at the capital investments that bring other work in here and consequently more tax money and consequently more people that have housing and us to take other money to build workforce housing, for example. So we can't afford to do that, because that's one of our big isms here: tourism, agriculturalism, miningism, whatever you want to call it. So that's why, to me, in order to make a good decision, you need to understand the impact of tourism if we raise this tax, and it starts waning off on the actual dollars that are coming in by the bid tax, because of what you said earlier. So that's why I would like to see something before we vote on it. Otherwise, if we vote to go do it, what do we got? We're gonna go and say, well, we're gonna increase it. Then the question is how much? Is it gonna be 1% more, or 2 or 3 or whatever?
So whatever the percentage is, but as Bianca pointed out at our tourism meeting, you're talking with a 6% increase, $6 on 100.
Right.
So when you look at it that way, it's like, well, that's not really that much, but then of course you multiply it by the, so our lodging tax last year, I believe generated, and I might be misquoting it, but it was in the millions of dollars that was for accommodations.
Right.
Like, I think it might have been $5.4 million in accommodations.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And if I can break that down even a little more, I had 2 reservations come in yesterday for a family coming to town. Each of them was for $700. So there's already, for $700, $14 only is the 2%. We're thinking of adding another $28 per $700 reservation. I don't know that as a lodging property, I'm overly concerned with that $28 will make or break if it goes to workforce housing and childcare. That's why I feel like
I'm just concerned because
it's not the worst thing.
just from what I've seen, Custer County is one of the highest taxed areas in the state, percentage-wise. With tourism, what was the tourism piece on, in Denver?
Got that chart.
I don't have the chart, I didn't
Well,
get
I'm
it.
just saying it's up there.
Denver's at 15.75. Steamboat's at 20.
Okay.
I think we're fairly low right now.
Yeah, no, we're low. If you look at that lodging tax column, the lowest is Chaffey County at 1.9.
Which is a surprise.
And then there's a bunch that are at 2 or 3, but of course, yes, Denver is high, and the other high one, Aurora, is 8%. So 2% is relatively low, and then, you add all the other things to it.
Right.
So like Grand Junction, their total guest tax is 14.52.
Right. So I get that, and part of that is Denver will always have people coming in because that's the hub of
Yes.
transportation in, so that's not gonna impact people being there and spending a few bucks there when they're there. It's the little places like us that could be impacted adversely. But Chaffey County is a good example.
So
didn't risk it.
Moffett County,
I got you, Ken. Go ahead. Moffett County.
Moffett County, which I think is pretty rural, their lodging tax is 6%, and then their total guest tax is 13.5.
Yeah.
If you look,
That's
Cripple
kind of
Creek,
ski.
okay, Cripple Creek is rather rural. Their lodging tax is 6%, with total guest tax being 12.2.
Yeah, but they focus on the gambling, which brings in
Yes.
a lot of people.
Yes.
But anyway, Jim's got a question.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I think you ought to make a motion today whether or not to address this.
Right, that's the point.
Secondly, and then what the numbers are and everything, you gotta decide, we're gonna do it or we're not gonna do it.
Right.
Because it's gonna go in the ballot. Now, with respect to the effect that everybody's having, you gotta look at who the tourists are. The tourists are not paupers that are coming in here. They're renting places for $400, $500, $600 if you're talking about STRs. The one I work for specifically said that, she doesn't see any way that she's gonna lose business if you raise the tax from 2 to 6.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. The people paying it don't even notice. They may not even see it. So if her rate goes up a little bit because the tax goes up, her clientele is not gonna be affected because they don't care. They're gonna spend their $400 a night for their whole family to have a gorgeous view. It's the opportunity to avail ourselves of a new or an increased revenue stream when we're constantly saying we can't do this, that, or the other thing because we don't have enough money. And when we're avoiding additional revenues by refusing to, or by actually even lowering a tax rate when we have the opportunity to take advantage of increased valuation in the county.
Okay.
So.
All right, you said, the first thing you said makes the most sense, it all did, Jim. I move personally that we consider doing this, and.
No, that you either do it or you don't.
I'm saying I move we do it. I want to get the money, I want to get the data, because we can decide not to increase it in the motion. All we're doing is gonna look into moving forward with this, and the only way we can move forward is to get information before the people. I wanna hear, and I've heard from 3 or 4 people now that have, you got a network, STRs, Barry's working in affordable housing, Debbie's been working tourism, with perspectives. I think the county deserves a chance to other people to get their input to us to make a good logical decision on what is the amount. Is it gonna be 10 more, or what's the max we can do at 6?
4 more.
4 more is all.
So we'll be
So we
at,
could go the max if we wanted to, or something less, or not. I'd like to know why Chaffey County hasn't done it, for example, because they are a big tourism hole down there, and maybe they got more people and they don't need to raise it, I don't know. Be nice to know.
Another comment. I don't know exactly when this bill was passed into law and signed.
very late in May, if not June.
May 13th.
May 13th.
May 13th.
It just happened.
Didn't just happen, happened 2 months ago. Right?
Yeah.
2 months. You've had 2 months to decide, here's an opportunity to increase our revenue. Should we do it or not? You could have had this meeting 2 months ago.
Well, that was the point, and that's why when it finally came up, because we get become aware of it with by different things.
Please don't interrupt me when
Okay,
you finish
go
the
ahead.
thought.
All right.
So you had 2 months to do this meeting, which is let's raise the tax or let's not raise the tax. So you have 2 months to do what you're just saying. So now we could have been saying, we're gonna put on the ballot a proposal to increase the tourism tax to 4.5%, because based upon all the information we got in the last 2 months, that's what the business will accept. Not to diddle around and wait until you have a deadline that you're threatening, that's being threatened to be missed, so you can't do it anyway.
So to reply to that, this has been on the agenda before.
I know.
And we've moved it due to.
I know.
My discussions with Barry, Workforce Housing, with Custer County Kids Council, and with tourism. It's unfortunate that this was one of the last things that got signed. It is one of the only tools that the legislature got us to be able to go to the people and say, we want to be able to do something. Because otherwise, most of the time, what they do at the Golden Dome ties our hands, not opens it up. So yes, we had 2 months, and we've been in some pretty heated discussions on what do we do, 4%, 6%, 5%, 3.5%. What is that percentage? And because everybody wants a tiny little piece of the pie of that 4% increase. It's too bad that this is now feels like a sprint through this marathon job that I have, but it is here. It's going to put a workload on tourism to make sure that we keep the people, the tourists coming. And especially staying overnight, because that's where we get this increase from, is from the overnight stayers, not just the daily stop by and grab a coffee type tourists. This is those that come up for the weekend and stay a couple nights. So it's really gonna put more work, and I don't mind the work, more work on Deb and I and the tourism board to make sure that we are really advertising, this is a place to come and stay. We want you to stay. We want you to stay and support Custer County, support your adjusting your attitude at this altitude, seeing the stars. So, yeah, I hear you, Jim.
Okay, Paul's got a point.
I see
I
this,
got you. I'll get you.
I see this as a two-phase thing. One, Kelly, what do we need verbiage-wise to the state? Does it have to have a percentage that we're going to increase?
The whole thing.
Yeah, they have to have the question, how it's gonna read, to make sure that it's worded correctly, so that.
Okay, so if we do that, we can rescind it prior to, we don't have to enact it.
We don't have to do it.
comes out negative for the citizens to vote on?
Well, if we sign the resolution, we're moving forward
We're moving forward.
with the language.
If we do
Okay,
that.
so then the only thing I see added to that as the second part of this is one, we put the verbiage together. We either make a decision or not, and then we have to inform the text that it's not a tax for the citizens, and we have to inform them or educate them that it is only if the people come up and pay for.
But that's the point I was trying to make. We have to make a decision to raise it, and we have to know what we're gonna raise it to and why. We don't have that discussion right now.
So we need to either
We can
kick it down the road
It's
further.
not kicking
or
it down the
do
road, it's
something.
making the
We
process
need to make a
happen.
decision.
So you made an emotion, right?
I moved that we move forward.
Yeah.
And that means we have a meeting, we gotta get the data, I don't know what the percentage is now. And I don't know why that makes sense. And I don't know why Kids Council would have a equal footing as the affordable housing. Maybe it's a different split. How do we know? We gotta talk about it. We gotta get, and do it reasonably and with the thought of what the people that come to this county come to do. A lot of them come to fish and camp. They're not gonna be spending a bed tax on anything. They might buy some food and some trinkets to take out here, which is what Debbie is getting them in here too, as a capital investment, we get it from them.
So
Anyway.
what do you need to get informed? Because I've been dealing with this for the last 2 months.
Barry's antsy here, let's go ahead and we'll.
So, it is unfortunate that this got compressed, but let me just say, between Stacy and myself, we have a bunch of data that we can present to you in all kinds of formats.
And I don't mean me,
very
it's the
quickly.
people. We're gonna make a tax,
Everybody
and
that
people can
wants to
come and
hear.
argue with us on Wednesday, I don't care.
Everybody wants to hear, there is a lot of data available. Didn't come with that today, neither did Stacy, because we knew the only requirement for today was, are you gonna do anything at all or not?
I think we need.
That's all you gotta decide today.
Right.
What you do is the next
Right.
conversation. Okay?
We have to move forward. Debbie, quick.
I got the impression from what Stacy commented on that she is getting a lot of information where she is of how other places are
Right.
dealing with it. It was interesting that she brought up both this year and want to think about it longer, that people are saying, well, we'll push it to 2026. As far as tourism in Custer County, we have had a very successful marketing plan. We are using Colorado Public Radio now, and I do believe it is making a difference in listening to tourism videos on YouTube about the change in American tourism. The one thing that stood out that I feel that we have strength with is in a world of chaos, travelers are seeking calm. And that is what our little piece of paradise here does provide. There is a trend right now that there are more day trippers than overnighters because people do want to save money. But I guess I would say, it is up to the voters. It is how we present the message to them. And of course, it is not a tax on the citizens here. You're getting visitors to help our community. And I think that is a viable endeavor. And I would say, you go for 6% and workforce housing is 2 and childcare is 2. I think it should be equal because they are both very important.
Can I throw one more thing?
Go ahead.
Or two, just to think about. So ballots get mailed out October 10th. So the other thing you need to think about is you're gonna have to really educate the public.
That's right.
And you want them educated by the time they get that ballot, because the majority of the people vote right when they get that ballot.
Usually
So
that's
they're
when they
gonna have
first
to
see it,
know,
and it
yes,
looks like a tax.
Yes.
Caitlin?
So Elliot Jackson was first, and then Stacy Jerome was second.
Okay, Elliot, I'm gonna get you. You've been very vocal already. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, yeah, I've been following this, obviously a bit myself, talking with Barry and with Stacy. So I guess my question would be, if you do decide to go ahead with it, why you wouldn't decide to go for the optimum amount that you could. I think Deb makes a pretty compelling case for, split it equally, because workforce housing and childcare are both going to be very vital concerns for the support and service personnel that have to, be here for the tourists.
Mhm. Good point. We had another one, it was, Stacy.
So I would just, sorry, to kind of address what Kelly said and just wrap it all up, that yes, a lot of work will need to be done to educate the public about this initiative and how and why and all of that. That's again what I'm doing yesterday and today up here in Denver. So that would be a task for myself and Barry and whoever else to educate the public. Secondly, another thing to consider is that if you do move forward this and it is on the ballot in 2025 and it doesn't pass, we can take the opportunity for lessons learned and try again in 2026, which would give us more time. So it's almost kind of a win-win. So if we do move forward with this and we work really hard for the next couple of months, and it passes, great. If it doesn't pass, we learn our lessons and we try again.
Okay,
thank you, Stacy. Jim, you got another one?
Yeah, kind of quick and sort of extends Debbie and Elliot's comments. This whole deal becomes an issue of, do you want to go after a new and available revenue stream or not? If so, logically, from what I agree with Elliot, it makes sense to go after as much as possible. So the issue is, if you support moving forward, then you're going to have to campaign for this because it's a revenue you want to get and you want the public to vote you this revenue. You don't want to ask the public what it ought to be. You want to say, we think this is what it ought to be and this is how we can get it. Therefore, you vote for it for us.
Right.
You don't want the public to be telling you what it should be.
Okay, so I agree. I'm not asking for that. What I said was, we need to get it to us to say, all right, what's the smart one? A couple people made a comment that 6% was the answer.
But
I don't know if that's the right answer.
My point is, you don't do that. You guys decide what the right answer is. What you think you can get from us to vote for.
Right.
By telling us, you're not going to pay it.
Right.
By all of this. So you don't need to ask us all this information. You need
I just want to know that it doesn't destroy the flow, and that's what she brought up a long time ago.
You're never going to know that.
I don't know.
You're never going to know that.
Okay, last one.
Okay, and Deb will know the percentages more precisely, but to the vast majority, somewhere within 60 to 70% of our visitors, I think, come from two areas, the Front Range and Texas. If you look at the chart of comparisons of the visitor and bed tax totals or just the bed tax in those areas, competitively, we are still very under where they are coming from. So that does, I think, point to the fact that it may not impact people like we think or what our concerns would be because where they're coming from, and again, the statistics you have, the vast majority of our visitors are paying much more where they're at.
So what we need is a motion that's moving forward on the next meeting that clearly puts in front of us to vote on a measure, a 6% increase, if that's what it is, and how it's going to be built, and the data to support it, so that we can make a decision with the data in front of us, unless you think we got enough now. I don't.
My question is, does that give you enough time to put it to the state?
If you come up with something by next week?
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to make clear, I recognize that Kelly's got to do that with the state, but that's really a performance exercise. I mean, part of my job is to draft you a ballot question that nobody's going to question the legality of.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it with ballot questions that have already passed and are already legal. I mean, I'm not going to make something up from scratch here. So, I mean, I don't think the state would.
So we don't have a resolution in front of us. Right?
No, you can't adopt a resolution today that you don't have in front of you,
Right.
but if you all have direction as to what you want in that resolution, I can have one for you next week.
Right. So that's the whole point. We're not voting on a resolution right now.
But if, okay, well, what I understand, and there's not been a second on this motion, but what I understood the motion was that the county would go forward with this process, do some fact finding, look at numbers, and then maybe next week direct me to draft a ballot question that says
that incorporates
X% for these purposes.
Right.
Correct.
Which means that the ballot question itself wouldn't be considered for another 3 to 4 weeks.
Whenever it has to happen.
Which it really, if you guys can approve a resolution next week, it would be awesome.
But we need to see it.
So if that's the case, then you guys need to come up with some direction for me today.
Correct.
If you want to have a resolution next week.
Sure. And that would be the case. If that's moving forward, we got to consider it next week.
That's your call. It's not.
Debbie.
I don't think an increase of 6%, we will not know the impact, but I can pretty much say that the impact of increasing from 2 to 6% will not be as strong of an impact as the hit that American tourism is taking this year. We have lost all Canadians, foreigners aren't coming, so that's the challenge that we have this year. Right now, we are down $10,000 compared to last year.
3,000.
3,000?
3,000.
I thought it was 18%.
That's what I checked yesterday.
Oh, okay. So, you know, we're kind of staying steady. And Custer County was discovered because of COVID. We're not gonna go back, you know? And if we continue our marketing as far as a place of, you know, adjust your attitude at our altitude, or come for the peace, come for the space. We have a tourism conference coming up in October where we're going to be getting a lot of valuable information from CTO about what Colorado tourism looks like. But I don't really think an increase of 6% is going to change that much, because we're going to keep on doing a good job in promoting the county.
Okay, I'm gonna change my motion. I move that we move forward, and I wanna see a presentation with a 6% increase next week, and a resolution supporting that. And a discussion that we can have to decide, that discussion has, and this is not my motion now, it has to include the pros and cons of, is it an equal split of workforce housing? Why is that, and childcare or whatever? We need to have that discussion, because if the ballot's put forward, we gotta say it's gonna be whatever the data is that we're gonna vote on, whether it's gonna be equal split, the new 4% goes to this other stuff instead of tourism, or maybe tourism gets an increase too. But that's the discussion we have to have.
So to be clear, the motion would be an increase of 4%.
Right, to a total of 6%.
Right, I was just gonna say.
And I just want to say, tourism doesn't need an increase. Granted, we are low.
But see,
compared
Debbie,
to
don't
many
argue that.
places.
Now, I agree, but that's something that when we get in the meeting next week, we can put out in the public that's here to hear it. It's a record. It's not us just discussing it like today.
And well, I mean, this is also a record, but what I would anticipate doing then is I'll have a resolution for you. There will be blanks in that resolution, in the ballot language for filling in where you want the new funds to go.
Sure.
And essentially the board could amend the resolution in real time with Caitlin.
Or decide not to do it at all.
Well, or that, but I mean, to the extent that you want to define those things in the meeting.
Right.
Caitlin can make those edits on the screen.
Right.
As we're having the meeting, and so that there will be something actually adopted by the board by the end of the meeting, if that's what the board wants to do.
We need a clarification on the motion.
Can I answer?
But there's not, we're talking about what the motion is and whether there's going to be a second.
Let's get that clear first.
Okay.
So the way I've got the motion is to move forward with a 4% increase to the lodging tax and to direct the county attorney to draft a resolution.
To include.
No, that's enough right there.
Okay, but you got enough to understand the blanks.
I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
I didn't mean that to be flippant, I mean, I understand what the board's direction is.
That's
It's
your
a
motion?
second.
Yeah.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, and then we can have an informed discussion next week. We'll see the
Correct.
stuff in front of us. People, public can comment, and Jim, if you got a comment, we've got to stop.
Yeah, I just had a real quick question.
Wait a minute, we haven't voted on it. What's the discussion? Go ahead.
Yes, discussion. Are you as the board, since you're not making a decision on a resolution, but you might want to discuss what you believe ought to be in the resolution, can they do that on their own, or they have to do a workshop?
No, we can do it.
We'll do that in the meeting.
We'll do that in the meeting.
No, I mean, can they do it before the meeting?
Well,
They
somebody-
cannot have a discussion, the board cannot have a discussion on this issue without public notice and without it being an open meeting.
And what I would see, Jim, is people can bring
Because
to
of the Colorado
us.
Open Meetings Law.
But you guys can get your meeting together, come to us and help support the resolution or the discussion that would fill in the
Do the
difference.
input.
So I would, what
You
I'm
have a
trying
right
to
to
get.
hear this discussion, and that's why it's gonna be next week's meeting.
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to get at, is that, like, if I wanted to make a resolution, I'd fill in all the blanks all by myself, and then you guys would look at it and blah, blah, blah.
Right, or you get input on how to read it all.
The question is, how do you more effectively get at filling those blanks in without having to discuss it all at the meeting forever and ever and ever?
Well, that's
This
the
is how
problem, that's
sausage is
the
made.
world we live in. though.
Bring your topics to the meeting.
Yeah.
Us.
And if they haven't heard this discussion, there's a lot of smart people that can actually help get good input in to fill in those blanks now.
Okay, so I just processing, or get it, asking process.
Okay. Are we
So
clear?
We can gather information individually and bring it to the meeting.
Okay, let's move forward. Is there any other discussion? Say no. All right, all in favor of the motion as Dan outlined it? I'll say aye, Lucas. Aye.
Vote some aye.
Kanda, aye. Okay. That's good.
I got confused on what day the meeting is next week.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Still Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay, I heard it Thursday.
It'd be the 29th.
That's several weeks ahead.
But just so it's clear, if the public doesn't seem to see it, but there actually is a schedule printed that Caitlin updates as we change it. It's all posted,
Yeah, but I want to make sure walking out of here, because I got a
Yeah.
short.
So we keep saying next meeting and without saying
29.
the date, it's.
9 o'clock.
Okay, and your motion was to increase to
30th.
the full 4%.
That's the,
That'll be
that's the
discussed on
proposed to
the
be
30th.
discussed, and that could be lowered in that discussion.
Yes, sir.
I get it, sorry, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay,
30th.
any other public comment? Now we're into any other items of business first.
I don't believe so.
All right, any public comment other than this? I don't want to hear this. All right, we're hearing none, then I'll adjourn the meeting at whatever time it is. What time is it? I don't have a computer.
It is.
11:42. Adjourn. Thank you.